welcome to the Triple Distilled podcast with myself, Aziza the Pristine Queen, the incomparable Stogie T, and this other guy who's just a reactor, but sometimes radioactive. He goes by the name SteveBussaGS. You gotta say the GS. And it's 3 times the authenticity, 3 times the fun, 3 times the knowledge, distilled into one smooth finish. That's us.
Do it again.
You idiot. What's good, A?
I'm good. How are you, Stoke?
I'm good. You have a belligerent bunch. What up, Steve?
I do.
Never had a bad day in my life, good brother. How you feeling over there?
I'm chilling, bro. I'm chilling.
Yo, it's finally here. Can you, how long have we been planning this? Are you excited?
I am. I'm wilding. I'm like, I'm kind. It's super surreal for me, you know. I'm curious. You know what I mean? I'm following. I really feel like a C here.
That's crazy.
I know it's a big step up for me. You go from national television, number 1 on the charts.
Shameless
and
plug.
Finally on the big screen now. You know what I'm saying? You got
Right.
2 A-listers here with you. So I know it's a lot to take in. I appreciate you keeping it cool, calm, and collective together for us.
You know, you joke about that, but honestly, it's when it's up to you to fuck up or win, it feels like you're on the big screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
See, this is when John Henry comes in with the gems raining down. Put the gems on him, John Henry. We're starting off fast and in a hurry. PQ, how are you doing?
I'm feeling good. I actually can't believe that it's finally happening. I feel like when we first started speaking about this, we were talking about it like we're going to do it like in 3 days. Because we're like, yeah, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that, and then we're going to shoot, and then. And then that didn't happen. And it took a little bit longer, you know. But I think it's a bit surreal that it's actually happening. But it's a little bit crazy. I remember when I got the call from Stoke. That was weird. So I think it was like a Thursday night. I got a text, and he was like, hey, Queen, can I call you? And I was like, what the fuck for? What did I do? Shit. Okay. And I said, yeah, sure, call me. And I was like, I hope it's not a video call. I don't have hair on. What the fuck is happening? And he was just like, yo, all I know is me, you, Steve, let's talk about some shit. And we were like, okay.
That's
I think it's gonna be dope, man. I think it's gonna be dope. I'm excited to finally get a chance to do it. We have so much practice. How was your week? Stoke, you've been having some massive weeks and shit like that, so I want to start this off. One of the cool things about what we're going to get a chance to do, though, is going to get to plug a lot of local talent, a lot of up-and-coming talent, cool shit that happens in a week. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a reactor on YouTube. I handle a ton of different music. I want the opportunity to talk on a platform with these 2 lovely individuals about artists that we discover. We're going to be doing album reviews. We're going to be talking about big, overarching hip-hop material, and I think it's just overall going to be an awesome opportunity for all involved. How about this week? I know I want to start off with either of you guys. Have you guys anything particularly dope this week that happened?
Dope? No, but my shit got stolen. So
Oh, that's the opposite of dope.
What you mean?
I have my laptop stolen out of my car.
Right.
So it's like it wasn't dope, but that's definitely what happened in my week.
Yeah.
Just wanted to let you know, get some sympathy.
So when you land, Steve, they're gonna be like, "Welcome to South Africa. Don't get shot." So this week, Freestyle Friday with Channel O, and that's been amazing, man. That's been dope. It's been particularly great to see everyone's reaction to it. Yeah, you know what's wild? It's like there's no script, there's no stylist. They come as they are, bro. You know what I mean? They come as they are. It's the stuff you do in your bedroom, and you're doing it on national TV, and people are watching you, and it's so bloody rewarding. You know?
Yeah.
It feels like good work, man. You know?
I can only imagine what it's like because, I mean, as somebody who was an avid spectator every single Friday, it was like appointment watching, appointment listening. And I remember, like, even when the show was on, like, I wouldn't be listening to what's playing on the radio and I'd be, like, making notes of all these different freestyles and some of the punchlines.
Right.
And I think it's really, really dope that you've carried it on so far. I think for a lot of people, they thought, okay, this is something that we're going to do during lockdown. Yeah. But once things start to open up a little bit, everybody's kind of going to get back to the normal, the status quo, but to see the new normal, to see you, I think it's really, really dope. I like the fact that you kept it to 5 p.m., kept to the tradition. That I was super impressed
That was
by.
our lives,
I was
on
like, yo,
Instagram.
yeah, because every Friday at 5 p.m., I was either like, yo, I'm driving out, I gotta be home by 5, or
Right.
I'm not leaving until this is done. So I think it's dope that you
And
kept
roll
to that
call,
as well.
you got a code of proof. You got a code of
Right.
Pristine.
But I love seeing what it has grown to become. And that's also where I met Steve. I don't know if that's a benefit, but it's there.
It's probably the biggest benefit of all. I think
Oh,
that two things to point out though that have been super dope to watch as someone who's overseas and I can't even participate in it, to like watch it live on TV.
Yeah.
Waking up and seeing Twitter explode with love for all of the artists is like I put a tweet out about this too, where it was just like, yo, I love watching people win. You know what I'm saying? And then like day one, we got my entire timeline's blown up with Zulu Mecha love and with Crow the Gnostic love, and in day two or week two, all the Cap love, like just literally just everybody gushing over it. I didn't see one person have anything snobby to say about it. Everybody, it's definitely brought the attention back to the culture, away from the drama, away from the tabloids, and back to the bars. So like as a spectator on the outside, the visibility for me has come with how the audience has taken to it. And I think that's super fucking dope, dude.
Snaps for Stoke.
Whole team. What's been up with you?
Me? I had two big things this week, actually, that were pretty dope. Number one, I had finally dug into a South African artist by the name of Lin May. So I did a reaction for that, and we have an interview on the channel that's coming up. Definitely something to look out for. It was a fun project. It was probably the best song from him that I've heard. I think he's gonna end up being one of those artists that like really end up 2-3 years from now, you're gonna see him like really come into his own when he has like good production behind him and shit like that.
Right.
So that was super dope. And then outside of South Africa, we had I listened to the Barcode 3 by Lyrical Joe in Ghana. He started off a series where he is now bringing in others in the cypher, kind of like the Freestyle Friday stuff that he's got popping over there, where he's now using his buzz that he has in Ghana to put on newer artists. And I ended up liking one of those artists too. Shout out to the dude Enzyme on there. He absolutely killed it. And so that was super dope just to see someone like, I did an interview with Lyrical Joe where he talked about the things that he wanted to do with these ciphers to put other people on. And a lot of people talk a good game. So that to just see that actually come into fruition, to see it through, you know what I'm saying? And see him put people on. I thought that was fucking dope.
Fire.
But that reminds me of you as well, Steve. I mean, I don't know how you're not mentioning that you're so close to the 15K subscribers on your YouTube channel.
Hey, that's because by the time this comes out, we're going to have passed that.
That's that talk I want to hear.
I mean, talk
You know
your
what
shit,
it
Steve.
is. We're going to pass
All
that
right.
while we're recording.
Okay, relax.
So this brings us up to now then, right? So we all had busy weeks. Some of us were getting robbed. Some of us were, growing platforms and
Thanks.
stuff like that. Why are we doing this? What is the Triple Distilled podcast? I think this is the flagship episode. It's the anchor episode. People are going to go back to this a lot. We could answer a lot of questions now to stop people from asking us a million times over and over and over again. The same basic interview questions. What type of stuff do you want to just scratch off now so we never have to address again?
It's not a hip hop podcast. I think it's definitely, it comes from that. But I think, it's a Pan-African podcast.
Yeah.
She said, yeah.
Oh, you gotta do the whole tagline. You do the whole tagline or not at all.
Say it.
I'm not saying the tagline. I don't clap. I don't say taglines.
Come on, you gotta
Don't
do
clap.
It
I
is
don't
a
say tagline.
culture.
global, international, Pan-African hip-hop
Global,
podcast.
international, Pan-African.
I put that shit on my resume.
Yo, you stop being white when you put that on your resume.
I don't even think Steve's really that white already.
I gotta chill. I gotta represent
You live in the
delegation.
worst country to be a white Caucasian male.
I mean,
right now.
now, yeah.
He said now.
Now,
That's like recent.
yes.
It's been okay.
He's sitting there like,
It wasn't always like this.
That's funny.
You want to come over here?
It's like stocks, you know, it goes up and down.
Goes up and down.
You want to come over here? We've got ferns and shit. You know.
You have
I don't
so
know,
many
man.
ferns.
I don't know. You know, I like the tagline.
I love the tagline. I think the tagline is all encompassing of all of us.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, to answer Steve, like, why are we doing this? First of all, I don't know if anybody's ever tried to say no to Stogie tea. You just don't. But on a more real note, it's just like, I think
John?
we all
You just don't, John. You don't, John.
you just don't. You really just don't. But I think it's just an opportunity for us to say some of the things that we don't necessarily get to say. It's also an opportunity for us to create the kind of content that we have been starving for. It's very easy to be sitting on the sidelines and be like, oh, but where's this? Where's that? You guys aren't doing it this way. Wada. But it's a lot more difficult to actually get in the game and effect change. So I think for me, it was like, yo, instead of talking about what you would like to see, make what you would like to see and be a part of what you would like to see.
What's up?
So that's what it is.
Bars. For me, the two biggest things, it kind of goes back to Freestyle Friday, right? Like, the fact that Stogie was using his platform on the original Freestyle Friday on Instagram Live to put shine on people that wouldn't normally get an opportunity to shine.
Yeah.
And to be able to do that on a platform that's going to matter. You know what I mean? It's one thing for someone to start a YouTube channel, for instance, right? With 0 subscribers from the ground up and not just play the big A-list artist, right? The fact that we're going to create a pocket in the culture that's going to be authentic and not just centralized around the idea of we're only going to interview the top A-list million subscriber stars. You know what I'm saying? I think that's super dope. And the fact that we have one of those stars as an anchor here, you know what I mean?
Oh my God, thanks.
That adds a ton. I know. The fact that we managed to get Massive Metro's own Pristine Queen. I couldn't imagine that.
Talk that shit, yo.
John, Gems, hit me. All right. So, and then the other thing is to then combat that, right? Because Stogie's here, you are going to get the initial idea that this is a South African podcast. It's going to be the impression at first. So like even things like in the intro, what's new, where we're now pointing out like today for the first episode we had like news from Ghana in the hip hop world. I think stuff like that is super dope when it comes to unifying the culture. And if we get anything out of this podcast period, in my personal opinion, that I want to see come out of it, is going to be that. It's going to be bringing people together in the culture and knocking down borders. And being able to focus on up-and-coming artists just as much as we do the ones that are established. So that's my 2 cents on it. Anything else you guys want to add on that?
All good.
No, we're
Cool.
straight.
We got 2 album reviews to hop into now. Stogie's going to lead us off on these album review breakdowns. So the idea between the triple distilled idea and brand, Stogie actually came up with a pretty dope breakdown that he wants to go through for each of the albums. Go ahead, take it from
I
me.
like this breakdown. So it's basically, you know, like to stay on theme, you know, like I like how you do the scorecard, the report card, you know what I mean? I love that. I often go to like whiskey tastings and cigar tastings, and it's like, you know, they always give you this little paper and you're like, yo, score this. What flavor do you taste here? Can you taste the coffee and the, you know what I mean? So I felt like, yo, you know, just to be on brand a little, you know what I mean? To kind of use a similar one, you know,
Right.
for an album, right? And also, you know, sometimes people dither and talk about all types of weird shit when they talk about albums. And I felt like, yo, man, you know, let's get some focus with it, right?
Right.
So I thought to kind of separate it by, you know, so the beats, the, you know, production, which would be the aroma. What is the overall feel? What's the sound like? What is, you know what I mean? Single malt blend, right? Is this a classic hip hop or classic whatever? You know, whatever. Does it only kind of cater to one kind of sound, or is it a blend? Is it, yo, you know what I mean? Is it
Right.
is it alternative? Is, you know, does it do a lot, you know. And then the hit rate, right? The finish, this is this is, you know.
Right.
Does this is this the kind of album that like, yo, this is gonna be huge, or it's one of those, look, this is my joint, you know,
Right.
for me, for, you know. And then finally, you know, the age of the whiskey, right? Does this thing have staying power? Does this thing, where do you guys see this thing living
Yeah.
beyond its release date? You know what I mean? So
You
I mean,
forgot
you know,
one. You forgot one. Content. The
content.
taste.
That's the
Oh,
taste.
right.
The
That's
taste.
the taste. Oh, right. Oh, my bad. Sorry,
I got you. We're in this
My
together.
bad. So taste, right? Content, taste, right? What, like, of course. What are we talking about? What are we dealing with, right?
Yeah.
What are we, you know? Are we? You know what I'm saying? Is this heavy? Is this light? Is this? You know what I mean?
Vibing.
Absolutely.
Are we
Absolutely.
teaching? Yeah.
So yeah, I have always been nervous around critiquing projects. I do verse of the year.
Right.
It's implied that, look, I don't even look at whack verses because I don't want to create that kind of energy
Yeah.
in the culture. I want to just shine a light on what I feel is dope. You know what I mean? Still, you do that, people are like, why you leave my shit out? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, damn, son, I can't win for shit here. But so this kind of makes me nervous. I will say I really like the idea that you were talking about, Steve, of like maybe this segment turns into something where we're listening to stuff that's like, you know, of people who are not really out. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That to me serves, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
might save me a couple battles.
I think it'll save you quite a bit, to be quite honest.
You know what I mean? And speaking of battles, the first album, you know, Black Les, right? So me and Black Les got off on the wrong foot.
What did you do?
I'll tell you the story. So me and Black Les just got off on the wrong foot. We had a difference of opinion about how good he was. And I was disrespectful. I really was. I was belligerent in the way that I expressed mine. And, you know, I definitely do regret it because it was just like some corny dick shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I still keep to that opinion, but I was wrong in the way that I expressed
That you delivered it.
Absolutely. Then, and I'm talking about then, right?
Right.
It was at Pro Kid's funeral, man, where I just looked at this dude and I was like, bro, this is corny. This is corny, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I die tomorrow, you're gonna come to my funeral. You know what I mean? If you die, I'm gonna be at your funeral. Cut it out. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know, squash it. You know.
Right.
And then because of that energy, which was so long, it's little things can set it off. Where we're just like, hey, Stoke, come on, Stoke. I thought we good. You feel me?
As a person who watches this shit, sometimes I'm like, yo, you sure you want to say that? You want to say it like that? I'm always like, at any second.
As a person
it
who's
could
been
pop
specifically
off.
caught in this crossfire, I can't.
Exactly. He was on a-
So speaking about that, let's just speak on it before we get into this review. Watching you getting caught in the crossfire was a lot for me, right? Because I was like,
So Steve was on a live with
so
Black
Steve
Les,
did a live
interviewing
with Black Les,
right?
but the way that it started off, so it was like, I think Steve had done a reaction,
Yes.
and then somebody else tweeted at Steve and was like, yo, it would be really dope if you
Reacted
and
to
Black
Black
Les,
Les.
no, not reacted,
Hold
did
on,
an
not just
IG
somebody.
interview.
Shout out to Mr. Humor.
Was it was it Mr. Humor? Yes.
Oh yeah, he's been my plug in SA for a minute now.
So Mr. Humor was like, yo, Steve, I think it would be really dope if you and Black Les got an IG live interview. So not just suggesting a reaction, but now for them to talk. And then Les replied and he was like, yeah, no. Yeah, he was like, Steve is cool and everything, but I don't think he really gets me. So that interview would be pointless. And I was like, I screen grabbed that and I was like, Steve, what the fuck did you do? And he was like, yo, I'm trying to figure it out myself.
Had you reacted to anything from Black Les prior to that?
Historically, yeah. I see that's what got, like, I expect people not to like me. I'm very not likable, especially if I react to your music. Like I get it, what caught me off guard is that
What you mean? I loved you from the first time I seen you. I loved it.
Pause.
No, I really did. I was like, yo, I like this guy. He's like, he gets my shit.
He loves you, Stevie.
Yeah, but
but that's because I'm dope.
Exactly. It's different if you're not, right? But not like that was what caught me off guard originally with it, is that I was a Black Les fan. Like I never reacted to anything from him actually that didn't score very, very well on my channel.
Right.
So like it caught me off guard, but at the same time I was just like I was sad. I thought I was with Mr. Hume. I was like, yeah, man, this is gonna be dope. And then by the time I finished tweeting out, yeah, I would love to do that. This would be dope. I then read that it wouldn't, and I was.
That's funny.
I was like, all right, I guess it's not. Never mind. But no, he ended up coming back almost immediately. It was like a back and forth conversation that happened on Twitter. And he's like, Matt, this is actually probably be a really good opportunity for us to chop it up, clear the air and stuff like that. And then we did that. And then that's when when we were talking about the crossfire, that's when some of the previous Stogie T conversations kind of creeped its way into that interview.
Yeah.
Full interview available on the channel or Instagram Live. Check it out.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of that. I need a shameless plug graphic, John. Get on that. There's gonna be a lot of that.
He's on that. So yeah, so that said,
Don't mind the BS. I hope that this shit does not ignite
Don't
no
mind the BS.
BS between y'all.
I love this album.
You did?
I love this album. So Black Les, South African hip hop artist. This album is like melodic, alternative, slow, jammy, adult, contemporary-ish. You know what I mean? I was listening to this. I could switch off and not really pay attention to it. And it's like, yo, this is. I like this.
It's a vibe.
It feels right. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could tell he wasn't trying to bar people to death. He let a lot of the music live. It was just very satisfying to hear that kind of thing, you know. Gave me a Pretty Ugly kind of feel, you know. You know those Pretty Ugly, like where you're like, look, I'm gonna try something new.
Yes.
I don't care, you know. Starts off with the P.O song where P. does what P. do, and Black Les almost ignores everything P. He was like, you feel like, okay, it's one of those Lost Diamonds things, you know? And it's like, nah.
Not really, yeah.
I'm going to sing. I'm going to, like, take my time. I'm going to, you know what I mean? And I was like, wow, this is... so I like that. So, to go with our little criteria on him, very original, 8 out of 10 for me on beats, production, aroma, you know what I mean? That's, to me, I like that the most, I like that the most. Taste, introspective, Black Les is kind of very, he's one of those like, talks about his life, you know what I mean? He's honest, very honest MC, sometimes too honest, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It's like, dog, I don't gotta know you couldn't pay the rent all the way. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
real, yo.
Yo.
It's relatable.
Man,
Not
you
to
can
me.
tell. Oh, here we go.
Oh. Okay, Stogie
Here we go
motherfucking
with the
T.
shit.
That's your one for the day. You've reached
I'm
your
about
quota.
I'm about to invoice Stogue my fucking rent.
Bruh. Yes.
No, but no. So yeah, but I liked it. I also liked he's very open about like talking about women and romantic type relationships. I like that. That's really cool. A lot of dudes too hard for that. You know what I mean? Too cool to be like, it's like, okay, bro, know where you live. So I gave it a 7 out of 10 for content. I love that. Finish hit rate. I think you can hear some things. You can hear some things that could be on radio that could, you know what I mean, that have that.
Yeah.
But I don't think he was trying to do that. You know what I mean?
I think I agree with you there. So for me, don't mind the BS. I think that when I look at it holistically, I almost feel like the whole message of the whole project was, yo, I'm not always going to be what you expect me to be. I'm not always going to show up as the black Les that you expect me to be.
Gotcha.
So on this John with Pilar, I'll give you this. And on this one with Tapelo Mashiani, I'll give you this. And then right at the end, I'll come through with Tudo Bem and give you something completely different. And I think that was the feel that I got, because no one track sounds even thematically like the other. And I like that. I feel like Les has been in an experimental season, because even if you listen to Bare Energy, it's got that as well, where it's like on one joint he's gonna come in, he's gonna rap, and then on another one he's gonna sing for you, and then on another one there's some my piano drums. So I think he's just like, yo, don't box me in.
So that one, so Bare Energy sounded. I agree with you that he's been super brave, right? His last couple projects. In fact, the Lost Diamonds.
The collaborative one.
Yeah,
with
that's the
Piano.
one that feels like a little bit more like straight, kind of,
Yeah.
you know. But his solo stuff has been very. But I felt like the length of this one helped it, because the other one I felt was okay. He's still trying to figure it out. This
yeah.
one to me felt he was comfortable,
True.
and maybe it's because of the length. Maybe it's because of the length. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but to me, the age, right? This is my favorite Black Les project.
Really? That surprised me. Why?
This is my favorite Black
That's
Les
heavy.
project because so I have this theory that the public death for an artist is the moment that artist chooses to either be great or disappear into obscurity.
Okay.
The public death, whether you are what do you call it, like canceled, whether you ridiculed, whether you release something that is wholly like hated,
Right.
what you do after that decides where you are in the history of, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I really think that this dude, obviously Black Les is not like the biggest hip hop artist, so he, as in like in the country, so he might have the room to kind of, but he's got his people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's risky, bro. What you're doing is risky, but he's doing it. And there's nothing I love to see more than a fucking artist say, I don't care, fuck it, and I'm going. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that, to me, that's the kind of shit that makes me go, yeah, bro. You're about to find it. You might win or lose, but bro, this is the kind of searching I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why I love this shit. I love this shit. Like, this is a high scorer for me. You know what I mean? This is like a dope album. This is like a 40 out of 50 album to me.
I'm very surprised, but I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Stevie, what do you think of Don't Mind the BS?
Before I get into that, I want to co-sign your reaction to Stogie's reaction.
Right.
So pleasantly surprised by that. So I agree with some things, disagree with some others with this. So we're gonna get a good contrast of opinions for this. So in all fairness, to be completely transparent with everything, I do want to give a couple pieces of information ahead of this. Right. Number one, Turn the Lights Off with him featuring P.O. Was the song that I had originally reacted to and had like a raw reaction to.
Yeah.
Listening to I did not react to anything else off the album because this is when that interview conversation happened, and I wanted to wait until after the conversation, you know what I'm saying, before starting to pot anything anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So by the time I go to listen to the rest of the album, I had some insight information on the album that was pulled out during that interview, which did affect the way that I heard it and the way that it resonated with me after
Naturally,
having
yeah.
that additional information from the interview. You feel me? So I'm just big on transparency. You know what I'm saying? So it was a little bit different with that. As far as bias with this goes, I am a Black Les fan. We interviewed. That's my guy. All right. Beats, I gave it an 8 out of 10. There's 5 songs. There was only one track that had a beat that I wasn't really feeling. Production-wise, however, I gave it a 10 out of 10, bringing the aroma to a solid 9 out of 10 for me. I do think when you talk about aroma, when you talk about the ambience, the feel, the breathability of an album, I definitely felt like it was well put together. The production, I think he accomplished exactly what he was trying to accomplish with the cohesiveness of the album, and I think it was visible. Like, I don't think that, like, when Stogie was like, yeah, this is definitely more of a vibe, and he was going for the jazz feels and stuff like that, right? That's not something that we needed the artist to tell us. We were
Yeah.
able to pull that information out ourselves.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And, like, to me, the aroma was, like, the biggest tell that he got what he wanted to accomplish off, and would essentially determine whether or not you would fuck with it. Is you could base it just off that, in my
Agreed.
opinion.
Agreed.
Now, moving into the content. It's definitely more album and super cohesive than opposed to a mixtape or opposed to a playlist, right? When we're doing these album reviews and stuff like that, like I always look at it like, did they make a good album or is this just a collection of songs?
Right.
And I don't think it's mistakable at all. I think this was definitely had album vibes. I think that the overall arcing theme of it was 100% on point and consistent. This is why I didn't necessarily agree with Stokes. So it was like, yeah, you could jump around and no song felt alike. I felt the opposite of that. I really felt like it put me in tune with a vibe, a specific, very, very specific vibe and a specific feel and ambience. And it didn't really break that ambience for me throughout the
Oh,
tracks.
no. I was saying that the previous album that PQ mentioned, what was it?
Bare energy.
Bare
Bare
energy.
energy. Yeah, to me, I was saying that gave me that feeling that, like, okay, I don't like that it's different kind of songs, and I was saying that this one, the length of it, because it's so short, right? It gives me that cohesiveness. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha, yeah.
Then we're on the same page with that. Now, the stuff that I pulled from the interview, with this album, some of the things that he wanted to do, Stogie hit the nail right on the head, and that's like, you're never gonna know what you're gonna get from me. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna allow you to paint me into a box.
he said that?
Yeah, in the interview,
Fire.
right? So that's number one. Number two, a lot of it does have to do with the sound, with him wanting to capture a South African sound, with him wanting to have the essence of South African hip hop culture in his music, and not necessarily have an Americanized album. You know what I mean, for international appeal purposes or anything like that. And obviously not the entire album is not in English. You know what I mean? The entire album does have its own feel that I don't think you can go and pluck an album from America right now and get the same feel from anything. With all of that being said, I think he hit the nail on the head with what he was going for. Overall, to me, the feel of it, I picked wine over hard liquor, is how I explained it. Definitely more wine vibes than whiskey vibes. For my own personal taste and ones what I think I'm going to be going back to, I gave it a 7 out of 10 for content.
Okay.
Blend or single malt is definitely a single malt for me. Like I said, I think it was cohesive with what he aimed to accomplish throughout. Hit rate or finish. So the hit rate and finish, I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 overall, right? And the reason is I do think that when you have an artist that is specifically trying not to have one singular type of sound, you're going to miss a portion of your demographic every time. Like if you have 4 types of sounds that you put out, and you have 4 types of people that listen to you for their particular sound that they like, not every album, not every project you put out is going to hit on all cylinders. So I do think the ones that are in it for the more bare energy, Leatherface type Black Les are not going to be vibing with this one as much. I'm probably going to fall into that category. You know what I mean? Where like I'm going to listen to Turn the Lights Off and maybe Raraka under certain circumstances, and then probably not revisit the other ones. That could be with, again, target audience. And I'm not the South African target audience. You know what I mean? Things of that nature all come into that, leading it to a 7.5. As far as the legacy goes and how it's going to age, I don't think that changes. I think the demographic of the people who fuck with him, who are fucking with the sound, are going to be the same people who are fucking with him and fucking with the sound 5 years from now. And I think the people that fuck with him for a different sound, unless age and wisdom comes into it so that the jazz vibes kind of relate to them a little bit better, I think that they still kind of stick with what they like. It's 2021. People don't necessarily jump and change ships with what they're setting their ways with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, but I think Stowe was also right when he was speaking about Les's, following and people who are really, really about him. And what I've seen is that he can change sounds and experiment here and there, but people will generally try to understand what he's trying to do. It's not like, so with some artists, when an artist starts doing something different, it's like, yo, no, rap
But
more.
would you
I
put
like
that
to rap
over?
you.
Would you put that over more than 75% of his audience though? Because I gave it a 7.5 out of 10 for that. Do you think
know
more
what?
than?
You know what? I not to speak for Aziza, but what I'm hearing is he's earned the goodwill from his core audience that they give him benefit of the doubt. That
That's
they
what I'm
go,
saying.
all right, I might not like this, but I dig you so much, I'm gonna give it a chance.
I will go there with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the kind of following and the kind of fan base, if you want to put it that way, that Black Les has.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been in some studio sessions with him, and he really is about creating. Just creating. Like really taking an approach of, this is my blank canvas. I'm just gonna create art. There's no like, okay, I'm walking in and I'm just gonna out rap everybody. It's really just about where he's at that point in time, what he's really trying to say to you at that point in time. And I like the way that they create as well. And I also wanted to say a big shout out to Tapelo Mashiane, who is on 2 of the songs and
sings the hooks, right?
right, and does production as well and some engineering there. So a big shout out to him and them. I enjoy Don't Mind the BS. I think I'm one of those people where Les can kind of mess around with the sound and I'll go, okay, where are we going with this one? Oh, okay, cool. But I'll still be like, okay, this is my preference, but I see what we're trying to do over here. So that's where I'm at with it.
Any final thoughts on the album? I think we all kind of like deep dove on that one pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Cool. All right, second album up, Stoke. We're gonna do Russ's Chomp. Oh my God, I can't wait to. You said this was your first time listening to Russ, my guy?
This was my first time listening to Russ, so I know his story. I know that he's kind of a champion of independence as an artist.
Yes, sir.
That you know what I'm saying? I've known. I listened to the Joe Budden one-on-one interview that told me a lot about the dude. Some of it was a little off-putting, actually. Like when I watched, just
Really?
some of his vibe was very like he just kept, just weird. I was like, bro, you keep talking about 13-year-old like white girls or white people in the States who control hip hop, and I'm like, why are you so bitter? You sound bitter, He just sounded little like he's frustrated that no one's giving him his props,
Right.
And even that didn't make me want to go listen to this guy.
Wow.
I was like, I'm still not. You know what I'm saying? I was just like,
Even though you were making a spiritual connection with him.
you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, okay, I see you, bro, but
Hate
it
it, yeah.
just wasn't. Nothing was compelling. He was making blanket statements about black people. You know what he looked like? He sounded like. And again, I'm now, I'm looking now. I'm talking about a damn interview instead of an album. But I know a bit about him, and I say a bit in the real meaning of the word because I hadn't listened. I think you have to listen.
Right.
That said, so the first thing I see is the feature
The
list.
features.
I'm like, yo,
Insane.
Black Thought, Benny
talk
the
about it,
Butcher,
Insane.
Crooked Eye, Absol. I'm like, okay. So, play the first song, right?
Stockholm Syndrome.
Right? Listen, when you have that kind of feature list, you're trying to tell me 2 things. One, I belong here. This is how I want you to see me.
This is the level that you should regard me at.
Exactly, right? Or these are my aspirations.
Right.
All I heard was a dude get mollywopped throughout his album. Everybody, Crooked Eye raps, mollywops him. Black Thought mollywops him. You know what I mean? Like, the only reason I'll ever go back to listen to Chomp is to
What
hear
album
that Black
did you listen
Thought
to? Hold up. Did he put out...
album.
Was there a different Chomp?
This was trash. I will rush through my shit.
Oh shit!
I will rush through my
he
shit.
He dropped the T word.
Aroma, cool. Shout out to Alchemist, Ninth Wonder, Primo, that's dope. 7 out of 10. Those are amazing, producers. Those guys are always. In fact, these are not even like compelling beats by them. Like these are not the most amazing by them. You know what I mean? But whatever. Content, yeah, very like contrived. You can tell, okay, I'm trying to be lyrical. I'm very. There are some bars, yes, that are cool, but like I said, he got out rapped on everything. He talks so much about this independent shit. It feels like a damn lecture at some points where he's talking about the game and independence. I didn't care for the content. I'm never going back to that content. 6 out of 10 for that shit. Originality, I suppose it's a single malt because it's like, it's hip hop. It's like, it's supposed to be like this, like classic hip hop shit. But my God, I can think of 10 more artists who don't even have a Spotify account who deserve more attention. Hit
Shut
rate
the
finish.
fuck up.
It's not that kind of album.
Yeah.
Look, it's not a hit album. There's a lot of long verses and not hooks, so I get it. It's not, it doesn't have that kind of hit rate. But I don't, I feel like I said, like in my sleep, I can name a bunch of rappers that I would rather you listen to before you listen to this dude. So 6 out of 10 for that shit. 5 out of 10 actually for that shit. Legacy, age. I will not be listening to this shit ever again. Not again. Never again. This was a horrendous exercise for me. Like, I gave it a meh out of 50.
So what I'm going to do for the culture, Steve, get him. Because Steve is just yo.
Steve,
I appreciate you guys tuning into the last episode of the Triple Distilled podcast.
I'll catch your response. when I watch the episode.
Oh,
I'm not
not
listening
even
to this shit.
worse.
I'm not listening to this shit. I'm not listening to you, Steve.
Yo, he's really fucking
I'm
leading.
not listening, Steve. You can tell us these are all you want to say.
This is wild right now. Yo,
Stoge's an asshole.
so I'm on the phone with Stogie last night, right?
Right.
I hit him up, and this is how I know it was his first time listening to Russ. He mentions it, right? Because we were discussing a different album.
Right.
That was my first time listening to it. And he was like, yeah, this is my first time listening to Russ too. And I was like, I can't wait to hear what you got to say. I bet you can't pick one bad thing about this jump. Blah, blah,
and
blah,
you
blah.
picked like 50 million bad things about all of it.
Yo, I didn't realize that all right. You know what? Good. Fuck Stogie. I'm gonna go in on this shit.
He said, fuck Stogie.
All right, so start from the top. Bias, yes, I am a Russ fan.
Nigga.
However, I'm a new Russ fan. All right, so I actually didn't know Russ existed prior to starting the YouTube channel. I discovered him through reactions on YouTube. All right, so I'm not like a diehard fan. I'm a touch and go fan, but the stuff that I've heard from him, I do enjoy.
Okay.
Beats, I gave it 8 out of 10. There were, I believe, 5 tracks on the album.
Yeah.
And there was it was kind of similar to the Les one, in that there was only one beat that I wasn't really fucking with. The production, same thing. I gave it an 8 out of 10 as well. I don't know that there was anything super standout from the production that was like, this was super cohesive because of X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Right. So I feel like it was an 8 overall, but it's for the aroma. All right. Content-wise, now I do happen to, this is where, like, when Stogie's talking about having, like, heard, like, an interview and stuff like that, where some additional information was put in. So he does a lot of this. None of this was meant to go viral. None of this stuff was big. None of this was a single, nothing like that. This was put out with the expressed purpose of just being bars. Like, he was talking about, like, how Les doesn't go in there and just try to bar somebody to death and stuff like that. Like, or PQ said that. And it was like, that is what the purpose of this was. It was made known that there were several songs released prior to this coming out that were very melodic, that were very hit songs, that were very, you know what I'm saying, like, are going to be on the radio. They were all bangers, right? This wasn't for that audience. This is for the Joe Budden listeners who want the 9 minutes of bars back to back, no hooks. That was the purpose of this. So I knew that going into it.
Sorry, Steve. I could get that just simply because the stuff that I have heard from Russ before was very emo and melodic and very story tell. These are some of my challenges. These are the things that I'm facing. You know, that's like when I encountered some of Russ's music, I was like, yo, this is very emo. This is the shit that I'd listen to at home, chilling.
Always.
Like I can't listen to it driving because I'm gonna wrap my car around a fucking pole. But so it was this. I can understand that because hearing him like this was very, very different from the other stuff that I had encountered before.
Agreed. Mixtape more than an album. Did not feel like an album at all. Nothing was cohesive about it. This was 100% mixtape vibes. This is the type of shit you were looking for in the Clue tapes back in the day. You feel me? And there's nothing wrong with that because that's kind of like what this was marketed as. I'm gonna see what fucking facial reaction shit he's doing on the fucking playback.
This dude said the Clue tapes. Fabulous was on the Clue tapes.
Yeah,
Not Logic.
Bro, I don't know what the fuck you listen to. Anyway, this shit was bars on bars. I like the fact that there was a lot of entrepreneurial undertones. Stogie actually quoted that with the pushing the independent thing as a negative. I wholeheartedly, vehemently, what did he say in the fucking John?
Vehemently.
Yeah, I
almost spat.
disagree with you. He and just literally the points that he was dropping too. Like if you take his advice, you're gonna go and be motivated and do something. If you follow him on Twitter, he practices what he preaches. He's constantly putting out stuff that's positive and promoting entrepreneurialism, and I enjoy that. And then if you don't, alternatively, if you listen to the shit that's at the top, you're gonna end up overdosing. Which there's a 27 club for a reason. That's just facts. Like that's just bars. I like that about him. That I did not look at that as a negative at all. And then the features, obviously, top tier features. As far as the content goes, this is right up my alley. Bars on bars on bars. The only person that outshined him on this whole thing was Busta Rhymes. As far as
what?
Yeah, Busta was the only one. Period.
What?
That barred him to death. You're out of your mind.
Yeah.
All right.
Sit on it. 9 out of 10.
You gave it what?
Content wise, well, this is again. This is my lane. This is the shit that I'm.
Right.
I'm gonna go back to a Benny the Butcher. I'm gonna go back to the Benny the Butcher, Black Thought, and Russ song before I go back to a Jazz Black Les song, but based on content. Like this is my preference.
Yeah, me too. But I'm skipping the first minute.
This. He's real tough with rappers he'll never meet. You hear this shit? This is...
Yo, don't get me in the middle of y'all shit ever again.
That Black Les album was fucking so good. But that Benny the Butcher, Black Thought, fucking... Okay.
You're
that King Crook one.
For that one, Steve.
Okay. I got you, my guy. Blender single malt. This was definitely single malt. This was, like I said, had the mixtape vibe all the way through. Nothing really outside of that. Hit rate or finish. Now for this purpose specifically, I gave it a 10 out of 10 based on features to be and nothing else. I think if you look at this from an artist perspective, if you put together Stogie, like even you, if you put together any piece, any project of art and you put it together and you had Crooked Eye, Ab Soul, Black Thought, Benny on it, you had a fucking premiere beat, like it's gonna age well. It's never not going to be cool to have tracks with those features. 20 years from now, it's still going to be an accomplishment to have a project that you put out with these tracks on it. It's
not when you get fucking chewed and spat out on every fucking song. No.
Wait. On this point, I have a question, right? Just to flesh this out a little bit more, because I found myself having a similar kind of conversation the other day with Mr. Instro, right? So... are we saying that because of all the incredible people that he has on this particular project, do we feel like people are almost kind of giving him a pass on, because you could have, I, as Aziza, could have a song featuring Stogie T, right? And the novelty of it could be so great that people overlook that she really actually doesn't sound that fucking great.
I can't believe I'm having this conversation. Russ is fucking dope. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, is this dead serious? Like, this is the conversation we're happening?
Yeah. So Steve. So I think he's super talented. I think he's an incredibly super talented dude. Like, I obviously went and listened to other stuff, because I was confused, but I like I found this album's super contrived. I found the lyricisms like just like mediocre, bro. I won't lie to you, bro. It reminded me of Logic, bro.
I've never listened to Logic. I'll be perfectly transparent with you.
Logic is corny. I don't think this guy is corny. I don't think Russ is corny. I'm not saying Russ is corny. I'm just saying the stuff was contrived. And again, bro, you're gonna have this feature list. You wilding about the feature list. If you're gonna have this feature list, you gotta show something, bro. And to me, this guy is like middle of the road. Okay, cool. Punchline, cool. Okay, you rapping fast. Okay, like Crooked. Like, bro, did you hear Crooked?
You're so
you say
underwhelmed.
Busta Rhymes rap. Did you hear Crooked?
I preferred Russ over Crooked exponentially
On that song.
on that song. And here's one of the things that I might give him, that I might give you on this, right? There's two things. Number one, historically I've never been the biggest Crooked I fan. That's okay. It's a documented fact. West Coast rap in general has been a huge miss for me most of my life. All right? So I don't have a lot of people coming into this, when you see those two names, Crooked I's name is going to hold a lot more water than Russ's from the beginning, as opposed to me, who both of them kind of were equal in fangirling. You know what I mean? Like, I was as much of a fan of one as I was of the other. I never dove into the music. So he doesn't get the legend nod from me because I didn't come up on his music. You feel me? So
no, I don't feel you. Let me tell you why I don't feel you.
Understand what I'm saying?
I do understand you, but okay.
So
I'll let you finish.
So he doesn't get that. So he doesn't get the nod for that. I don't get that oh my God feeling, right?
Right.
And then number two, their verses were extremely similar, and Russ's came first on the track. If you listen to their verses, the content of their verses were fucking extremely close to each other. And between the styles of the two of them, I like the delivery package Russ does more. I like the way that he sets up his punches. I like his kind of swag that's on. Like, sonically, I prefer that. I think Crook is a harder rapper. I think I would prefer him on more of the street shit. I think I would prefer him on more Brooklyn style beats. As I know it's weird to say as a West Coast rapper, but like that's where I go in my head. For this type of shit, for the positive and a little bit of entrepreneurial spin, the independent push, the content that they were spitting on Stockholm Syndrome, I prefer Russ's voice, cadence, delivery package over King. There's nothing from King Crooked that I preferred his over Russ's on this track.
The reason I say I don't feel you is because you already know my perspective on it. It's like you don't it's irrelevant that you think Crooked I is a legend or not, or that you don't listen to West Coast hip hop. To me, that's all of that is irrelevant. What's relevant is what you're hearing, right? Mm-hmm. And what I'm hearing is a dude whose form is so much more polished, is so much better. Again, your preference is a real thing. I can accept that. I can accept preference. But there's no way you're gonna tell me objectively that guy rapped better than the other guy. Preference? Yes. Cool.
Rapped as in Crooked I is a rap technician, right? That's his style. Yeah. That style traditionally doesn't score as well with me as whatever you would categorize Russ's style that has a lot more personality to it.
Fair enough. And I'm saying that I can respect that. I can respect that. But I'm just saying.
Now let me also follow this up with no one was trash on this album. Like, that is not saying like, oh, I think Crooked I was bad, because you're not gonna have me sit here and argue that that these guys didn't like
Russ wasn't trash. To me, he's just mediocre. He's just not understand it.
I get you trying to egg me on.
I'm not
trying to. I can see the face. He's not trying to egg you on right now. I think between the two of you, I'm right in the middle. I preferred this version of Us than some of the other versions.
Okay.
I'm not a huge fan of always emo shit. And like I'm saying to you, a lot of the stuff that I had come across of his just made me so like, yo, it's hard. Shit, he's going through the most. I don't like listening to music like that all the time.
I feel
So
like we've
I
heard such
appreciate
different tracks. All the shit I've heard from him has been braggadocious.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
A lot of the stuff.
He notoriously doesn't listen to albums.
This is true. This is true.
Yeah, so for me, this was something that was a bit more palatable for me than some of the other stuff that I had heard. But I will say that, walking away from this album, he's not the one that I remembered.
Which is fair.
For me. So that's how I feel about it. I'm not on the, oh my God, it was atrocious. Nor am I on, oh my God, it was so great. I was like, it happened.
However you guys are consuming this, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment down below. If you're listening to this on any other platform, reach out to me or Stogie or Ziza on some social media, on Twitter, on Instagram. Tell us what albums you would want to hear us review, that you want to hear us break down. One thing that we are going to push a lot on this podcast is we are not a current events podcast. I don't care that something just came out today or something came out 5 years ago. We just want to talk and discuss and break down good hip hop. We're not going away anytime soon, so we have all the time in the world to get to request and shit like that. Majority rules. So if you guys want to push your ideas through, tell your friends about the podcast, blow up the comment sections, run the numbers up, and that's how your best bet to get your album review on the channel. In terms of censorship involving hip hop. Meek Mill ended up putting out a verse. The actual song didn't come out, but the lyrics did. And he goes on to say, yeah, if I ever lack, I'm going out with my chopper. It'd be another Kobe. This was met with a lot of backlash. It was met with both, right? So you had a lot of people jump on it right away on the "That's Too Soon" train. You had another people just call it tasteless. Another people trying to cancel Meek from it. And then you had a lot more level-headed conversations from people who are actually in the industry, not just like Twitter eggs, trying to start a real dialogue about it over, you know what I mean? Like the stuff people, what's the difference between Eminem saying I hit the trees harder than Sonny Bono and this? Why does one get a pass and the other doesn't? Is the fact that it's 2021 and the climate has shifted mean that these are unacceptable? There's a lot to talk about. What are your initial thoughts on it?
I think where you are emotionally and also your emotional proximity to the subject matter will always come into play as to how you receive something that has been said. So for me, it was just like, hey, we were just the other day looking at, 1 year of Kobe not being around. So for me, I was like, oh, it seems like, that wound might still be a little bit raw. But I also thought about like, there's been so many different examples of that kind of shit being said. And we were like, that's cool. That's all right. Yeah. There's a lot of Kurt Cobain bars as well, and we're like, cool. That just is what it is. But I think that for a lot of people, from what I could see, it just felt like it was a little bit too soon. I think a lot of people went like, oh, he should never have said that. There was a lot more people going, yeah, he should have waited a little bit before he said that.
I'm glad you brought up Kurt Cobain, right? Because that's almost like a retired bar now, you know what I mean? Like,
we gonna get to that.
No one's even ever allowed to say Kurt Cobain blowout, whatever, you know what I mean? Because it's so used. It's such a hip hop trope, right?
Right.
But no one cares what Courtney Love thinks. No one cares what his fans think. No one you know what I mean? It's like it's such a and again, that might be time or whatever. But my point is, really, people, really, we're gonna take fucking hip hop is the standard for what fucking is right or wrong to say? Really, motherfuckers? Are you out your fucking mind? Look, I'm a hip hop artist. I rap. I make music. I reserve the right to use any fucking word I want to. I do not, you cannot censor me. You will not censor me. I refuse. That said, I'm not saying that shit Meek Mill said because it's insensitive. That's why I send every verse that I write to my team first. My team looks it over. They say, this is fucking dope, Stogue. But I think this is weird because I'm human. I might have blind spots. I might not be able to read the room. So it's just smart business to go, look, bro, look it over. Okay, cool. We're good. Cool. Because I don't want to be cliques. You know what I mean? I don't want to be picketed. I'm not dumb. But still, my philosophy and my position is fuck out of here. I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean?
So, but you just basically said, I'm going to say
did-
what
that-
I
that was-
want, but
That was
I'm
not
going
a
to have my team
contradiction.
vet it.
Hell yeah, that's not a contradiction.
I'm a self-censor before
No,
y'all
that's
motherfuckers
not
can tell me.
self-censorship. That's not self-censorship. I said that's good business. That's good
That's
business.
marketing.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. My initial reaction when I heard this didn't have anything to do with the sensitivity at all. Maybe it's just because I'm not a good person. But my initial reaction is that it's a really trash bar. That was the most offensive part to me, is that it wasn't a good line.
Yeah.
Like it's unimaginative. It wasn't a good simile. It didn't lend itself to what was being said in any specific type of way. Like it's literally, here's Meek Mill's not a shock rapper. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't
Right.
even in character for him. Like that was my
But it
biggest
wasn't a
issue.
shock bar. It was, again,
No, if you're mentioning Kobe and you're trying to be the first person out because no one's done it, and you know what mentioning Kobe is going to get a response out of 2021 listeners.
Right.
it didn't sound like a shock. You know, a shock bomb is a shock bar. It's like a, yo, I'm going there. This sounded super, super bland. You know what I mean? Like you said.
Well, that's kind of my point. It's just, it was like, if you're going to go there,
yes, and that's why.
make the line worth it.
And I'm
Right.
saying to you that I don't think he was going there, because you say just because you mentioned Kobe Bryant and Choppers. To me, I'm like that. You know, it's like, what, you can't mention this guy's name. You know what I mean? Like, do you know how many times I've heard Kobe's name mentioned since he died? It's like everyone, and it almost I don't hear it anymore. And it's, again, it's not bad. It's all of them praising him, right? I'm like Kobe, blah, blah, blah. Shout out to Kobe. Good, rest in peace, Kobe.
Right.
Like, I don't hear it anymore, right? So this bar is like, it's the first time someone has set a bar that, again, he's not dissing Kobe. He's not like, you know.
But it's not necessarily
it's
commemorative.
It's not commemorative. It's just okay, so this guy is now dead. He's dead now. Can we accept that he's dead now? He's dead. It's been a year. He's now pop culture fodder. He is food for pop culture.
I feel you.
We are now using Kobe. You know what I mean? And again, it might be too soon, but somebody gotta fucking break the damn egg. You know what I mean? And I think Meek Mill broke the egg. And again, bro, if I'm Kobe Bryant's widow, I'm like, yo, that might be insensitive. That might hit her hard. That might, but it also might not. She might go, fuck this guy. I don't care.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I think there was a false equivalency with the Kurt Cobain thing. I think there's a big difference between an alleged suicide versus an icon and his daughter dying in a helicopter crash. I kind of agree that it's not necessarily a shock value. I don't know, man. I do think that was a false equivalency.
I half agree with you. The circumstances are different.
Right,
half
but I
agree.
think
But it's still tragic. It's still tragic.
Yeah, the parallels for me is also how the people just get so desensitized to certain things, right? So that's the thing for me. It's like, okay, we are.
I mean, I talked about this before, where it was like, even like this, and we talk about this is why the good American versus South African perspective comes into play, right? Like, how many people are over there that aren't even in the country or directly involved with it that don't mind talking about Tupac and Biggie getting shot and killed? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And there's a combination of it didn't happen yesterday,
right?
Right? Like, so like, I don't know. There are equivalencies.
But you can't
There
say
are-
you can mention Tupac and Biggie getting killed, but you cannot say it. Like, if you know what's good for you, you will not say anything negative about it. Even shock value wise, it'll be like, man, bro, like you're just an idiot. You know what I mean? And again, you might want to be that shock value artist. That's cool.
See, I don't know if that's true because again, I hate to keep using Eminem as the example. This is where the arguments keep coming up. You had him. What was driving down the block in the car
driving
that they
the
shot
block.
Pac in.
Yes, that's
Looking
not
for
a. That's
big-
like, yo, driving around the block in the car that they shot Parkin, dressing ridiculous, red and blue. Like I don't see what the big
Looking
did
for
is.
Big's killers. Yeah.
Looking for Big's killers. Come on, to me that's just dope. That's like, okay, cool. That's M is like back on his paying homage shit. That doesn't feel like, you know what I mean?
Doesn't feel insensitive. It doesn't
and
feel.
also-
It doesn't feel like you are trying to use something that's insensitive to be cool as well.
Oh no, that it does.
I don't.
That it does. That it does. It definitely sounds like he's trying to be cool because it's dope. It's cool. It's fucking cool shit.
But I think back to Steve's point, like Meek just. It also just sounded so like even the execution was lazy. You know, when Steve was saying it's not a dope bar, but it also just even execution wise, it's lazy. You know what I mean? But I think also the added layer of the insensitivity for a lot of people, I think that's why people felt the way that they did. And it's also the fact that it, like Steve was saying, the tragic circumstances under which he passed away. And I think that's where people are coming from. But also there's what you were saying about how, but it's hip hop.
So as the only one of us here to have an album, right? You have a team that you run stuff by and shit like that, right?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you this: is there any part of you that thinks that this was purposeful? Because this track hasn't released. Like literally, what was released was the lyrics on a page.
Yeah, I mean, there's a little snippet. I heard a little snippet when I was doing my little researches. I honestly think somebody's trying to mess with this dude. Because it's, like you said, it's not officially released. So maybe the label, maybe the team did hear it and said, yo, nah.
Right.
And somebody from, because it's a feature on somebody else's song. So somebody from that dude's team or something, I don't know, released this thing. To me, it just, and also it's been fuck Meek Mill season for a little, and again, he hasn't been totally innocent.
He hasn't really
in
helped that
regard.
cause.
But so,
Take this 20 hours.
exactly, you know what I mean? But again, it's like, no matter how, I think Meek Mill is one of the most misunderstood rappers in the game. I think he is.
You're gonna have to elaborate on that one, my guy.
I think he tries too hard. I think he's not media trained. I think he's still super street, and you can see him trying. You can see him trying to really be like, okay, look, I'm gonna be not street. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna be a brand.
Yeah, I think he's doing some really great work with prison reform. I think he's got the potential of being way more valuable to his community, to the culture, than, you know what I mean? And I think he's taking steps towards that. But there have been some very public gaffes, and when that happens to you, people generally go, all right, you're the $20 guy. Mm-hmm. So anything you do, you know what I mean? Oh, you're Aziza from we're going to, So there's also that. I just feel like it's super suspicious, Steve,
I don't disagree with that. So then let's take a step back, right, to the overarching issue, which is censorship in hip hop. Let's stop focusing in on this specific scenario. This is literally just a segue into the overarching conversation. So there's two types of policing that happen, right? We have government, which is like you have to have a sensory advisory sticker. If you use certain words, you can't get on a radio. If you use certain words, you can't, so on and so forth, right? And then you have cultural policing, which would be kind of what we're experiencing here.
Right.
Maybe. There's probably all right, so let me elaborate on that. So cultural policing is going to be like, hey, we as the hip-hop culture decide that this is not cool, right? And we're not going to support this. and you're going to have an outlash from us.
Yeah.
2021, there is a 99.9% probability that most of the outrage on the internet is coming from people who don't even listen to fucking rap to begin with and are just looking for the next thing to be angry about. The next person to attack. The next person to make cancel culture the next victim of, right?
Yeah.
That's my belief. I think so. Like basically, like where do you guys stand with this stuff as far as like content like this goes? Because I think it used to be cultural policing was kind of like word is bond, and that's the way that it was. If we decided as a culture that something wasn't going to fly, it just didn't fly. And now you have so many people that aren't part of the culture trying to influence the culture because of social media that you can't tell who's who sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
So I'll be a little I'll localize it a bit, right? So Casper breaks through the wall. He breaks through the wall and becomes this superstar. And with that, he brings a lot of people who may not be as well versed on hip hop as a lot of us in the game, right?
Right.
Those people walk into the room that we are all in. They walk into the room and we know all the rules. They don't know the rules. But they start, because there's more of them now, they start telling us what the rules are.
Right.
And we looking weird like, yo, nah, bro. You're not gonna tell us that's a dope verse. That's not a dope verse. No, bro. You're not gonna tell us that's a good song. That's not a good song. And what happens? Because they're louder, because there's more of them, because we start getting drowned out, blah, 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 right? And that's why you need gatekeepers, right? And again, I say that in the most
Relaxed.
yeah, relaxed. I say that in the most purposeful manner. I think you need gatekeepers to just say, look, we're protecting what we know to be the culture, you know? Bro, the culture will evolve, the culture will change. We might find that we are the problem. We might find that in the future. Someone might come and break this whole thing and say, actually, T, actually, Big, actually, Pac, y'all were wrong. We're going this way. And that might happen, and that's fine, you know what I mean?
That's kind of happened already.
Not really, not really. Who would utter a bad word about those people I mentioned, right?
I mean, I think you're never gonna. There's no point in ever ridiculing or criticizing the deceased. That's a principle that I think most people in general.
Well, people who are of their ilk,
Right.
those guys. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I would argue.
But you do have transitions where you have Royce the 5'9" coming out publicly as a spokesperson for hip hop and apologizing for a lot of his views that were homophobic previously. You do have.
That's not what I call That's not what I call. That's
But
not
it
what
is. It's a shift in the culture.
Absolutely.
That's being accepted even by those who we would maybe the majority would not think would be the ones on board with it. That's why I use somebody that is that's like Royce, who's respected by pretty much everybody. You know what I mean?
You are absolutely right. That is a shift in the culture. That is a shift in the way we view things. That is, again, like religion, hip hop is malleable, right? It's like if we're here in this space and we're saying we don't agree with this,
Right.
we're going to push back against it. We're gonna go, we don't, like you cannot say the word, like I don't think even in battle rap, Steve, you don't hear the word faggot anymore.
Correct.
In battle rap.
Correct.
You do not. That was like the second every other word. Now you
Correct.
don't hear it because we've all accepted that. Actually, you know what? This is not cool.
It's not the vibes anymore.
It's not the vibes. You know what I mean? And I'm not talking about that, right, Steve? I'm talking that's society pushing against, and
That's exactly what we're talking about. That's the culture making a decision. Let's put the culture policing it. That's precisely what we're
That's
talking
the
about.
cultural sense.
My issue is this: I reserve the right to say the word, right?
Right.
Because I feel like context matters, right? I might write a song about a guy who says the word. How am I not allowed to say the word? How do I represent the story and not say the word? You know what I mean? I'm writing a song about a guy who doesn't like, you know what I mean? Who says the word. I say the word. And I'm saying that so I reserve the right to say it. Context matters. It matters. That's why I was like saying, to me the Meek Mill thing was just kind of standard. Not in how dope it was or bad it was, but just it just felt like it was benign. It was like doesn't sound like he's attacking or he's dissing Kobe. It doesn't sound like he's praising him. It just sounds like he's using a line about pop culture. And
Would you ever say that was tasteful?
That's what I said. I don't think I would say it because I don't think it was tasteful.
I think it was distasteful.
Yeah, I think it was distasteful. I will agree with you.
And
absolutely.
I think that's why a lot of people had issue with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it wasn't worth it.
It wasn't
On
worth it
top
as well.
of that, but that's on top of that. You know what I mean?
So
It's
Stoke, you're the other artist. Meek sends you over that verse. Are you putting a song out?
yeah, hell yeah. I'm putting a song out.
With it like that?
With it like that, I'm putting it's you. I might talk to you about it. But it's your song. I mean, it's your verse. I definitely talk to you about it. I'm saying, yo, dude. 2010, I called KO, because he at the World Cup event, like the opening of the World Cup, I bumped into this dude and he was selling his mixtape. I bought it for $10. I bought his mixtape. I played it driving home. And it's bitch this, bitch that. We toss them over. We do this. And Steve, I'm talking about 2010.
Let's go.
No, Steve. I'm talking about 2010. We weren't doing that yet. We weren't doing that in South Africa yet. So I called him. I said, yo.
I forgot. You guys are late. You guys are late on the
Super
tracks.
late. So I told him, I said, bro, do we do this now? I literally called him. I said, do we do this now?
Right.
I said, no disrespect, whatever. I'm like, yo, I'm loving the shit, as in the music. But we don't do this. We don't call women bitches, and we don't do that, bro. We say a bunch of shit, but we don't do that. He's like, yeah, nah, it's the vibes. I was like, cool. Cool, it's the vibes.
Yo, you gotta respect him for like standing by his shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I didn't really challenge him, but I was like,
You know
cool.
what I mean? Like,
he supported it.
you didn't have to agree with him, but he was like, yo, I was intentional about it, and I'm cool with it.
I watched the recent
said that's the
recent
vibes.
interview of his, and he was like, yo, I was such an American clone back then. And maybe it wasn't 2010. Maybe he had found himself then already. But but honestly, I feel like you have systems in place that maybe challenge these norms of ours.
Right.
These, you know what I mean, and push back against them. And I think that's healthy as a community. And I think that's why we're having this conversation, right? But I just say my blanket philosophy as an artist, as a human being even, is you gotta keep the shit in the open. The more you keep the shit in the open, the more we say these words, the more we speak about it, that's how you change shit. You don't change it by relegating people into dark corners and canceling them, because they don't stop saying them. They just like say them in dark corners.
When you're not there, basically, because
know what I
you're
mean?
not going to be there to regulate
But if
them.
you are open, if we're having open conversations about them, that is the difference between some kid getting brainwashed by his black dad that white people are whatever. You know what I
Right.
mean? But if you're out in the open and you're having these experiences, you're going, actually, man, I don't know, man. Because
Right.
my teacher says, my pastor says, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean? It like the community saying something different to what. So maybe you're not everything. You know what I mean, Dad?
So I think for me, I think that the cultural policing is important. I think that we all need to be having these conversations with each other, and just questioning each other. You know, I like the example that you just made now about I like
I
Steve.
disagree
He's
vehemently.
He's fighting
I
me
vehemently disagree. Steve,
vehemently. He's fighting me.
vehemently. Steve, let me ask you this.
Let's go.
Actually, no, Aziza, let me ask you this. Cultural policing is important. And it's important to kind of gauge, hey guys, where we are. No, that's not right. That's not, man. Who?
Ooh, you're getting to my point.
Huh? Who? Bad.
I think I feel
Sorry,
vehemently about.
What vehemently? No, bro. Drop that other N.
I feel very strongly that we should find several intelligent people of the culture to create a platform for adult discussion within hip hop, to be a beacon of light in the darkness, to discuss these topics for the layperson, right? And this is happening a lot because of social media, right? I mentioned two people before, right? So you have Royce the 5'9", who is very, very vocal about all topics hip hop on IG. You have Crooked Eye, who runs like hip hop conversations day in and day out on his Twitter, right?
Right.
Those opinions are held more highly than the 70,000 comments that are below them. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important, and I think it's easier now than ever to pick and choose who you're taking the information from. And I think that us having this platform to discuss the topics and not shy away from them, I think it does more good for the culture by having as many beacons as possible for people to get valued opinions from, right?
I definitely agree with that. Because what I was fixing to say is I don't give a shit what somebody who does not understand our culture has to say about it. You know what I mean? So I won't say, okay, Stogie, we need this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, but I know the type of person that we need. I really am not interested in what somebody who is not a part of this culture has to say about it because they have no fucking clue what's going on, right? Yeah. Which brings me to like what I came across when I was looking, at some stuff. Because what I have an issue with is, when I take a look at like the parental advisory label, you know what I mean? And the history of that and where it comes from, and it has carried on even until today. And it comes from like a bunch of soccer moms who didn't like what Stogie was saying on some shit.
Dolores Tucker
and
and
they had some husbands who were in positions of influence, and they managed to get this ball rolling, and now we're here.
Talk that shit.
And for me, I'm like, yo.
That historic shit.
I actually don't give a fuck what a soccer mom who doesn't know what we're about has to say about it. For me, I'm like, if you don't like it, you don't have to listen to it because we're not talking to you.
But they got power,
right?
I have questions.
So for me, it's like
hold on, Steve.
Well, no, I have questions for Aziza because she I need to be educated. This is I have a question for viewership that's international, not from South Africa. On the topic of what you're talking about, Aziza, yes. Specifically with the parental advisory stickers and stuff like that, right? We have like a commission in the United States that the government literally dictates to us. Like it's not just like you own a radio station and because you own a radio station and you decide that this is the X, Y, and Z, you have to meet this or I'm not playing it on my radio station. It's not like that here. Here, it's like a government regulated thing. Is it like that there? Just because, like, as you're explaining this, I just want to make sure that I have the proper context while you're going in on it.
All right. So to answer your question, Stevie, it is similar to a certain extent. So radio stations that are on terrestrial radio, right? Because now there's the advent of digital and online radio stations. So traditional radio, they are regulated by a board called ICASA, right? Independent Communication Association of South Africa. And and that's where So
Bang balls.
those regulations and those kinds of rules are pretty much standard across terrestrial radio stations. So it won't be different. Like, so if you are on a terrestrial radio station, BussaGS FM and Molokane FM are going to have the same rules if you are terrestrial
Right.
radio stations, right?
Regardless of who owns them.
Regardless of who owns it. So there is
Okay.
definitely that. And that also comes from history, because that comes from the apartheid regime that was trying to not have music and content that was not favorable to their vision and what they were about. So those rules and the rules that we currently are operating under come from there.
Yeah. And the only
Right.
way to change that is precedent, is case by case. You have to change it the slow way. That's how law works, right?
Right. So, for instance, like if you look at our current form of regulation as far as radio is concerned, it is exactly the same as what it was under the apartheid regime. Because I was looking it up. Sex, you can't really say things about sex. You can't say things.
What about
drugs.
satellite?
So when it comes to digital, online,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, the digital space is not regulated by ICASA.
Yeah, let's
go.
go.
So
Hold on,
that
I
is
just need to
Fuck
take
shit
a-
ass
I
cunt.
need to take a
Right.
second to appreciate PQ. Like, we come with the emotions and the yelling and the energy drinks and dick jokes, and she got facts. She legitimizes this podcast.
I can't
in
just be the
so
pretty
many
face.
ways.
Like, that's not a real chat.
We might have just gotten the ICASA sponsorship right there.
So on the online and digital space, because you are not regulated by ICASA, in theory, you can have the uncensored versions of all your stuff. You can have your guests talking reckless, swearing, talking about whatever it is, right? It only becomes tricky when you have advertising and sponsors come in, and your advertisers and sponsors are
Yeah.
a bit more conservative because they're used to traditional radio.
So that answers your question, Steve, because you were saying, does government regulate it or does private? So if it's digital and the unregulated is basically the standards are being set by brands, by commercial, you know what I mean? But if it's the standards are already set in terrestrial radio, right?
radio.
But here's the funny thing: when you talk about that sticker in South Africa, you obviously we're not regulated to have that sticker. We literally use that sticker as like a hip hop trope. It's like, hey, look how hip hop my shit is. I got explicit lyrics, so we don't need to have that thing on. We literally just you put it on there because it's an iconic hip hop.
It's like
thing.
street cred
Yeah.
stamp.
That's
Real
wild.
talk,
Yo,
that's wild.
Y'all learning something on this podcast, whether you like it or not. That's wild. I feel like clowning everybody I see with that on there now.
No, you can't. My shit, I stay having my shit on there. But I really feel like I don't make music for kids. I'm like, yo, I really don't make music for kids. It's up to you to raise your kids.
You really don't make me.
I don't make music for kids. I'm like, I got kids. I wouldn't play my shit to my kids. I'm like, I don't play shit. Yo,
That's a
No.
segment in and of itself.
yeah. My kids get surprised when they're like, oh, YouTube, let's sing this song. I'm like, yeah, stop listening to that.
But I think sorry. when we also go back to radio, because that's my shit, right? I also found it very interesting because there's a different kind of, I don't want to call it censorship, but there's definitely a different kind of blocking. I suppose it could be a certain kind of censorship because if you look at it historically, censorship also included like, we just don't like what you're saying about the party that we ascribe to, so we're just not gonna play your shit. There's, I would say,
That's that
personal
America shit.
gripe censorship as well. If I am the music compiler and all of that, and I just don't fucking like you, Stoke, I can do that. I can not play your shit. And it happens. A lot of people don't talk about it, but it happens. Or in a case where I'm a music compiler and Steve doesn't like you, Stoke, but he comes to me and he goes, hey, Aziza, here's 20 G's. All I need you to do is not play Stoke.
No.
Please play this Rush track for me.
No, this is a shock. What? In South Africa.
A whole Sada.
What?
You think money can just buy things?
Dude. People just buy like the way
so
out of
for
like
me,
the
it's
law
like,
in
for
South
me, it's
Africa.
like, yo, I think it's
This
so
is
fucking crazy that
John.
I think it's so fucking crazy, right? Like we look back on
John.
the apartheid system and all this like anti-propaganda bullshit. And when I look at it now, it's like, yo, you're pushing your own kind of fucking propaganda. If you're gonna pay me 20 G's to not play Stogie T and he's done nothing to me and he's got good shit, how are we any better?
Yeah.
The real question is, are you taking the 20 G's?
Real talk. Are you taking the 20 G's?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
I'm straight.
You sure?
Yeah. The thing for me is,
Are
like,
you sure you straight?
I'm very sure I'm straight,
Twen-
and I think also for me, just
Yo, Steve. This
Hold
is
on,
where
what's 20 G's American? I need to know what the context is here.
oh, it's a hell of a lot more there, but no, it's a hell of a lot.
No,
less.
all right, 20
Yes,
G's
yes.
American, they
Let's-
go to slide you.
It's like, yo,
20 G's
no,
American?
20 G's, yeah, 20 G's
that's a lot
American,
of
they
money.
definitely sliding you. But I'm saying, it's like almost 2.
Nah, I'm not selling something out for 2 G's. I got a price. It's higher than 2 G's though.
Yeah,
Look, I think the thing for me is that
you can do a lot for 22 G's over here.
that's some facts. You really could do quite a bit with 2 G's over here. I
PQ
think
agreed
for
to
me,
that really, really quickly.
I've always just been the type of person where whatever decisions I make, I must be able to sleep at night. That's what it is about me, If I was the kind of person who
You can buy a
ethically
big
and
pillow for 2
morally-
G's.
You can buy a big pillow for 2 G's.
What the fuck? I think for me, I'm not interested in that shit. So personally, for me, I'm not taking nothing. You're gonna have to talk to somebody else.
That turned into such a mic drop.
Yo, so guess my shit ain't playing on massive.
Your shit plays all the time, bro.
Nah, we
bet
just look at
that's-
massive. Yo, Steve, we go through the list of radio stations and go, nah, we straight at massive. Nah, we good over there.
We ain't gotta do shit.
We good over
They'll
there.
tell us that
good
they're
over
playing
there.
our shit.
Steve, can I just say, bro? Let me just say something, bro. So the first time I saw a blow up doll was probably when I was like 13. I'm imagining the technology's gotten better than this shit.
Yo, let me tell you, Steve's blow up girl, she's got no nipples, no
What
belly
the fuck
button.
is this?
She barely has
Bro,
lips.
that's
Yo.
the equivalent of the 1-ply toilet paper, bro. Shit gotten better, bro. What is
Yo.
that, bro?
She doesn't even
Yo,
have fingers.
this-
Wait,
this
lift
is-
up her hand.
You gotta.
She doesn't even have fingers.
Maybe if our splits were better. I can't get.
She looked like she
looks
has
like she's had an
like an
edible.
audio tag. Like you can tug her in the back and she'll be like yeehaw or something. Like, what the fuck? Bro, that's trash, bro.
So
That
this
is
is
trash.
Yeah, no
Terrible.
shit. It was like $4. Here's the story behind that, right? So I have. You guys are. I know you're gonna fucking look this up. Don't look this up, but they're available.
We're
for
not
looking
looking it up.
up. On my
Sorry,
channel.
we didn't hear you. What you said?
So on my channel, I said don't look this. I know you're gonna look it up. Don't look it up. So on my channel, I had a few different experimental things that I was doing, and I was taking. Funny, we were talking about this today. I have insomnia really, really bad. I sleep like maybe 1 to 2 hours a night tops. So I ended up taking these NyQuil gummies, and these sleeping gummies would make me so fucking loopy and weird and out of it. And I would like almost like sleepwalk, like it would like really affect me weird. And I decided to do ASMR videos. You guys are gonna fucking kill me on this. So there's 4 episodes on my channel of me doing ASMR, and it just gets progressively fucking weirder and weirder and weirder and worse. And the last one I was doing ASMR, and it's me with a bunch of sex dolls and toys and shit like that, doing all kinds of weird shit. It got really fucking weird. But yeah,
I don't think I want to see that.
I
I just downloaded the one. I'm sending that to John. I'm airdropping that to John right now.
Good cutaways. Some cutaways for us there. All right, right, so the Janes were kind enough to let me have my own little situation. It's called PQ's Corner. As you know, I'm all about hip hop motivation. I'm all about showing how some of your favorite songs can mean a little bit more and some of your favorite lines can mean a little bit more. And if you listen a little bit closer, you can find some really, really dope gems. So Stino 20 just dropped a remix of Mshimane. It's Mshimane 2.0. Features KO, features Kulichana, as well as Major League DJs. So my motivation for you for the week, next couple of weeks until you see me again, comes from that song, the remix, and it comes from Kulichana, where he says, "Paradigm shift, I'm looking further." And I think that a lot of times when really difficult shit happens to us, we tend to feel like we have no control over those things, like we can't affect change, like life is just constantly sucker punching us and we are just reacting to that. And I think that what really needs to change is for us to look within and change the way that we're thinking about certain things, change the way that we're looking at certain things as well, and realize that we have a lot more power within us than we think we do. I know within The Secret, they say that life is responding to you and what you're putting out there. It's not necessarily happening to you. Now, that doesn't mean that bad shit doesn't happen every now and then. That doesn't mean that you're not going to get sucker punched. But I think it's all about how you're choosing to look at your current situation and how you're choosing to look at your life. So change your mind about some shit. Change your mind about who you are. Change your mind about the fact that you're powerless, because you're not. You're super powerful. And all you have to do is take a step back, dig deep, and find that shit within you, and you'll start to find that things around you will start to move and change and start to work within your favor. So change your mindset, change the way that you speak to yourself, change the way that you view yourself, and change the way that you view your situation, and everything around you will start to respond to you, and things will get better. And that's PQ's Corner.
Let's go, yo. Honest to God, that's the first one in the books. This has been the first episode of Triple Distilled Podcast for Stogie T, the Pristine Queen Aziza, and SteveBussaGS. Guys, this is only going to be as powerful as you make it. Follow us on all the socials. Interact with us. Make sure you guys are commenting on the type of content you want to hear, the albums you want to see reviewed, the topics that you guys want to dig into. This is going to be a platform for the people, not just another microphone for the super powerful A-listers. You know what I'm saying? So, as always, I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go.